Hey there everyone, welcome back to All of Fabric 6. Yeah, I forgot we made a point last episode of saying we're going to continue wearing this gorgeous outfit. And we'll store that away for safekeeping. Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to All of Fabric 6. So we're just down here in like the basement, I guess, of our house. Because we cannot delay anymore, I'm just going to build that Amethyst Farm thing that I've been talking about for so long. Starting off, we could probably get rid of... Yeah, we can probably get rid of this thing. This has been making us our processors, the old-fashioned manual way. We're keeping a stockpile of 32,000 processors all the time. So to me, that means this thing's not really needed anymore. So we can clear some space here, and this will be where we get our auto amethyst harvesting setup, so that hopefully later on we can do some OP hex-related stuff. All right, now we have the space. The big stuff we're going to do today, the really big thing is we're going to get ourselves a nuclear reactor setup, which, I'll save all that. We're not going to read that on camera. We'll save all this long explanation for later. We're going to get a nuclear reactor setup so that we can then kind of progress into the late game or the end game MI stuff. So that'll be good. But first things first. So we've been through this process before when we have like a budding block that produces crystals and you've got growth accelerators on the side to speed up its growth. But this time it's going to be a little bit different, and we'll see why in a second. Yeah, unlike the Certus quartz blocks that we mine from the meteorites, you can't move amethyst blocks. Where are we? You can't move amethyst blocks with the create contraption. Let's just demonstrate that. Yeah, so you can move them with create contraptions, just like that, but you'll see it's been blacklisted. A mystical force is binding this cart contraption to the world, so you can never pick that up. You can deposit it back, thankfully, so you don't waste your stuff. What's this thing called? Spatial something. I imagine you can use these spatial pylon things to move them. We already have a bunch of the budding ones anyway. These ones we got as prizes from treasure chests in those spectrum ruins, those underground spectrum ruins. So we'll use these instead. What if we go like this? We'll make sure that they're all connected to the cables. Oops. There we go. I can never get these things facing the right way. Yep. And we'll put our budding blocks in these spots here. I'm a bit hesitant to do this because if I misplace one, we can't get it back. All right, let's just try it with one. So normally we'd use a fortune annihilation plane, but if we instead use silk touch, in fact, annihilation plane, we're going to want to get a few more of those with a silk touch. Yeah, so unlike the previous time we've set these things up, we're using silk touch this time on our annihilation planes. Let's get you in there. And you. And we're going to have it grab the full-grown crystal. So as these crystals grow, they'll get eaten up. We got to connect this thing to power now. Just like that. We don't want channels to pass through this thing, only the power. I did, yes. And then we want to say, hey, we can store this size cluster in a barrel just over here. Oh, I like them facing upwards. In a barrel just there. All right, they're getting stored there. Okay, I actually hate that. It looks hideous. And now we're going to place those crystals down with a formation plane and then use another annihilation plane to break them. It's kind of a weird reason why we do that. So you'll see here, this silk touch annihilation plane is waiting for this amethyst bust to fully grow to the full amethyst cluster before it harvests it, right? And they're getting deposited in here. But if we were to like replace this for the fortune one that we have, you'll see it tries to eat the crystal at every single stage. Even though it's not storing it, this is the only place in this little sub-network here, because we've cut it off from the main line, just power's coming through. This barrel's the only place that things can be stored, and yet it's breaking the smaller versions of the crystals. I guess because it thinks if I break this crystal, I get nothing, and nothing is something that I can store? I'm not sure, it's a bit weird. So that's why we silk touch it, and then we're going to take it out of here, and since this is only storing the full crystals, that's the only kind of crystal that can be placed. Therefore, we're only going to be fortuning the full crystals. Hope that makes sense. I probably did a bad job explaining. I think I've created a loop here with a storage bus here of amethyst clusters and then an import bus here what's happening is I think it's taking it out of the barrel and just looping it back in. Maybe because we're importing this into the system, i.e. taking it out of the external storage. So I think what we need to do is disconnect these two with a little quartz fiber like so. Wait, yeah. As soon as I disconnected it, this got placed. Okay, and then we're going to annihilate this guy and send that back into our central storage. Well, the main pipe's just there, so why don't we just annihilate it and send it back down like this. Cool. And there we go. There's an Amethyst Farm. Let's chuck in these other... We'll chuck in 3 more. Like that. Careful not to misplace them, because you can't move them if you do. We'll decorate this a bit more. Cool. I like that. Not the prettiest. Good enough. So that'll get exported from this system, find its way into this dank, and start storing it up for us. Okay, we got 1 budding block to spare. Oh yeah, it's worth saying, instead of this whole Silk Touch to Formation Plane and Fortune Annihilation Plane, instead of this whole setup, you could just have these Annihilation Planes being Fortune and set to trigger on a timer, you know, like once every 30 seconds or whatever it is. And then you can cut out this whole extra step, but this just seemed easier as a new way to do things, so I thought I'd give it a shot. Now on to the fun stuff, or the hard stuff, depending on how you look at it. I very much feel like it's the latter, but I'm going to try and choose to be optimistic and to go with the former. The fun stuff, a nuclear power plant. We really don't have any space in here to put it, do we? Like, we could sneak it out the back here on the side. This side, or maybe the other side? Yeah, I think the other side's a bit better. Okay, so we need to set up a nuclear reactor. I was mistaken a few episodes ago. I said that those implosion compressors were our final multi-block. I guess it's because I wasn't really looking at the reactor as a multi-block, as like a crafting machine. I thought it was just like a power producing machine. But no, it does give us a few really useful items, such as... How do we investigate this stuff? The book. Yeah, here we go. So the book tells us that the nuclear reactor is a large multi-block, yep, I already apologize for that, whose purpose is to generate massive amounts of energy, 100 times more EU than you can get from diesel, but it also is a way to produce some materials such as plutonium. Finally, it can produce fluids used for nuclear fusion, deuterium and tritium. So plutonium, deuterium, tritium, they all just happen to be important ingredients in making these things called singularities, which we eventually need to start thinking about. So to get the nuke, 64 of which makes a singularity, you need plutonium ingots, tritium, and deuterium. The tritium seems a little bit harder because you need either heavy water or HP heavy water, whereas the deuterium you can just get that from regular water or high pressure water. So I think we'll just try and set one up with deuterium to begin with, and then we'll see how we go. And plutonium, here we go. The tiny dust comes from centrifuging the depleted uranium rods. Yeah, that's just like an end product of running the reactor, is you deplete your uranium rods and then you can kind of process them. To make the nuclear reactor itself, we need highly advanced machine hulls. So I've just got a assembler here to make those. Pretty easy. I'm pretty sure we had everything there except for the casing. So yeah, again, another one with the casing. We also needed to set up cadmium control rods, which we can probably go do now, which we haven't done. And we need nuclear alloy large plates, which comes from implosion compressing nuclear mixed plates with industrial TNT. Yeah, we already had all the ingredients for this stuff, so I just set up another implosion compressor down here to make that for us. Nuclear alloy plates, they're now getting made in this implosion compressor, and it's been going pretty strong. So we need to set up this stuff. It's all pretty easy, so I'm not going to bother going through it on camera, except helium's not something that we've really worked with before. I'll just tell you about this, but I won't actually do it till probably between episodes. But we're currently consuming aluminium drills there. We're doing this recipe. Aluminium drills, 10 seconds, 500 millibuckets of crude. I'm actually going to swap that out for stainless steel drills, which have half the chance of being consumed, which is good. And it gives you 4,000 millibuckets of shale oil as compared to 500 millibuckets of crude. And that 4,000 millibuckets, so this is a recipe for 1,000, but if you times it by 4, you'll get, 18,000 millibuckets of sulfuric crude, which you can refine with some hydrogen for a 1-to-1 with crude oil. So we need to kind of slightly adjust what we're doing here with our distillation tower and how we're breaking that crude oil down. So yeah, I'm not going to bother doing it here. I'll just do it off camera. But that'll give us our helium For now, though, we have been hoarding up whatever helium we can scrap. Oh, too high. We've been hoarding up all the helium that I could up here. Like this. Got quite a few tanks already. So this will start us off for today, but I'll swap over to shale oil once we've got the nuke set up. So we just have to get an assembler set up with helium, soldering alloy, and them. Easy. We can just kind of steal some, what's it called, soldering alloy, just off of here. It's kind of going against our principles of having the bus there for liquids, but it's too hard to resist. It is just here. So, yep, okay, we're clearly not making blast-proof alloy curved plates, so I'll add that to the list, and we're not making cadmium rods. Cadmium rods. And the curved. For now, this ought to do. Cool, there we go. And that is making them available. Okay, there we go. There's our cadmium control units. Ah, it's odd. These control units, I figured they'd stack to 64, but no, they don't stack at all. We'll also use this backlog here of helium to make uranium fuel rods. Uranium. That's what we put in the nuclear reactor once we've got it built to get this whole process started. And they come from, yeah, basically the same kind of setup. Helium, soldering alloy. We just need uranium rods and, all right, I'll get that set up. Where are you going? I've somehow got a craft that's already requesting uranium dust, and I don't know where it is. I wouldn't have set that up, would I? No, I definitely wouldn't have. And I don't think I've got an EBF set up for uranium yet, so I've got no idea where this dust is ending up. Which makes me a little concerned. Do I have it down here? Oh, maybe I've got it set up on the wall. Ah, I've got it set up on the wall. Perfect. Okay. Now we'll just get an EBF set up for it. It looks like we got a spare one here. It's telling us it needs to be Kuntholt here, so this stuff. Okay, set all these to Kuntholt tiers. Uranium dust. Come in here, and we'll grab the end product as it comes out and use that as a marker on the front here on the phantom frame. Okay, that's our uranium taken care of. We'll just get that set up here, like so. Let things in and out of there. And that, oops. That's it? Oh, it needs 18 uranium rods. Okay, once we hit 18 uranium rods, that'll kick into gear. So while that's doing its thing... Yeah, we don't have much of a choice. We're going to have to just set this up on the side of the building here, I reckon. Right here. But it's as good a place as any. Plenty of air circulation. Okay, the reactor. It's telling us we need... Oh, there's different sizes. So obviously the smallest one here is... You need the reactor itself, and then 27 of them and 77 of them. Oh boy. Okay, hopefully everything's running a bit smoother now. Oh, made a bit of a mess here. So yeah, I did just end up changing over the oil rig here. It's now consuming the stainless steel drills instead of aluminium. Aluminium. You hear that? Aluminium, I said. So that's now producing shale oil, which we just pipe into a new distillation tower. Now this thing produces the helium, which we've just got piped out to the network, sulfuric crude, and sulfuric naphtha. Well, we're already processing the sulfuric naphtha in a chemical reactor just there. That was connected to our kind of regular crude oil distillation tower, so nothing changes there. I added a new chemical reactor here to process our sulfuric crude, and that's outputting crude oil and sulfuric, which is struggling to get out. And that just heads back into the bottom one here, and the whole process just keeps on going. Maybe sulfuric backlog in there is going to be an issue, but I'll keep an eye on that. And yeah, the helium we've just... There's so many pipes everywhere. The helium I've just piped down here, all the way across, and up into our liquid pipe bus here to pretty up our base. Hopefully that's fast enough for everything to kind of catch up. Let's see, we needed 27 of these. And 4 of the large plates makes us our nuclear reactor. Ta-da! Craft a nuclear reactor and discover its over-engineered mechanisms. 3.6 row something. I better Google this. Roentgen. Roentgen? It's a legacy unit of measurement for the exposure of X-rays and gamma rays and is defined as the electric charge freed by such radiation in a specified volume of air divided by the mass of that air. Obviously, we all knew that. So here it is, our nuclear reactor. Put this in our offhand so we can get a look at it. So that's what it looks like. That is a small and medium, large, extreme. We definitely don't have the blocks for that one. 121.63. So we need basically 3 stacks of the nuclear alloy case in. And we haven't even got 2. So yeah, let's just start off building the smallest here first. Okay, if it was an extreme, it would just fit under here. But we're starting with a small. Just wanted to get a sense of how much floor space we needed first. Okay, so it looks like it's nuclear alloy casing just on the base here. And then also on the outsides. And then the insides you line with this nuclear alloy pipe machine casing thing. Then it was just more of these on top. I think? Yes, it is. Okay, let's have a quick read of the book. So the nuclear reactor is a large multi-block, we read that. So how it works under the hood can be a bit overwhelming, so you'll probably have to read this yourself. We recommend that you experiment in creative mode. Good idea. Rest easy, it cannot explode, nor does it emit radiation or damage the map. Whew. And then you need nuclear fluid hatches. Each hatch has 1 input for either item or fluid, and 2 outputs on each hatch. Okay, so item in and 2 items out. Fluid in, 2 fluids out. Well, let's just see what's important here. Each hatch has a temperature and stores heat which can be dissipated in several ways. The heat will naturally move to an adjacent hatch. Okay. The heat can also be extracted in a fluid hatch by producing steam. The core nuclear reactor elements are neutrons. Those are produced by the nuclear fuel, like the fuel rods. There are 2 types of neutrons, fast and thermal. The fast carry energy while the thermal do not. I guess the thermal just carry heat, which is a type of energy, but not relevant here, I guess, for the nuclear reaction process. Neutrons move in a straight line until they encounter an element or exit the reactor. The flow of neutrons is shown in the reactor GUI. Here we go, uranium rods. Fast neutrons will shoot off in every direction. It has an 8% chance to absorb what? A neutron. Oh, it has an 8% chance to absorb a fast neutron and a 51% or 52% chance to absorb a thermal, and like 1 in 5 or 1 in 6 chance to scatter. I guess if a neutron hits it, it'll bounce back out in another direction. Okay, not sure what that's about. Yeah, it'll deplete. That's what we want. This has now a 14% chance to get absorbed as opposed to 8. And all right, we're going to probably want to make these things. All right, I'll go set up these recipes in a second. We'll use the quads instead of the singles. Here we are. When a neutron encounters a non-empty hatch, 2 things can happen. The neutron is absorbed or scattered. A scattered neutron will randomly change direction. If the scattered neutron is fast, it has a chance of slowing down, becoming thermal. An absorbed neutron stops its course and also transfers its energy. If it was a fast neutron, I'm not sure I get that. When a neutron, either fast or thermal, is absorbed in nuclear fuel, like the rod, more neutrons are generated. And that's like the reaction process. Those are always fast neutrons to have random direction. Okay, let's get 7 more of the fluid ones. Because I think the cheapest kind of setup we could have, an item in the middle, and that'll be our fuel rods, and then water all around. And I just want to see what that looks like first before we commit to anything else. See, but because they don't stack, I think that's a bit misleading. Like it says use 2 uranium fuel rods in this recipe, so you'd think that they could fit in 1 slot. But in fact, I think you need to put them, I think you'd need something like this. Same here, 2 slots, because I doubt they stack either. Let's see, let's put a quad in there. Oh, there's no water yet. Is that a problem? Maybe. How are we on temperature? Nothing. Let's get ourselves a kitchen sink. And let some water out into it. And we'll just monitor that, see what happens. So it says here that the neutrons emitted with temperature takes like a linear drop above about 1,000 degrees Celsius. But here we have it at about 1,500, which I think means this thing is degrading quicker, or is that how it works? The water is absorbing quite a lot of neutrons. Oh, I guess the absorption of neutrons probably affects how fast this is going to degrade. Thermal efficiency 70%. I think that thermal efficiency thing, I think that's what we were just looking at here. We're at 70% efficiency because we're sitting around this area here. Right. When water absorbs neutrons, it produces deuterium. Our high pressure water also produces deuterium. Maybe we'll come back to the high pressure water in a bit. What are things looking like up here? Oh, you've got deuterium and steam sitting in there, and your hatch is just waiting to be let out. Probably just into a tank for now. 8 buckets, good. And we should possibly feed the steam back into the network as well. Ah, okay. There are these things called heat exchangers, and these things soak up heat. So maybe because this thing is going a bit too fast or something, the temperature's a bit too hot on it. Maybe if we put heat exchangers on either side, we can bring that temperature down, which will then produce, I think, a higher yield. We're emitting less neutrons because the temperature's too high. If the temperature was more around 1,000, I think we're producing 6 neutrons every degree or something. I don't know. That seems unable to drain quick enough. Oh, I think because the pipe's not long enough. Yeah, that's it. There's a funny thing with pipes in that, like, you store fluid inside the actual pipe itself. And so the longer it is, the faster the transfer rate can be. See, like the max of this is 18,000. Now it's 19,000. Okay, so I've just added a bunch to it. And that should drain these quicker. Yeah, now the fluid's all drained from there. Our steam rate is around 10. Or like 9.7, 9.8. Now deuterium is 2. Let's just say 1.5. Okay, if we make item instead, and then put some of these heat exchangers in there, some of the big ones, give that a chance to settle in and kind of smoothen out, and we'll compare the outputs to see how we go. Right, well, that just killed it. It just killed it completely. Now we're getting nothing. I don't want to use this small setup. I don't want to do the tests on this. Let's actually take this out for now. Handle with care. Yeah, I think we can afford this one. I'm just going to make the medium-sized one, and then we'll run tests on it. And how many spots do you have up here for us? Way more. Cool. So let's put an item in the middle and fluids all around. Okay, very good. You can put you back in now, and yeah. Let this fire up, and we'll give this one a test. All right, this thing, I've been watching it for a little bit. It seems to oscillate, but it's about 17 to 1800 degrees. Oh, we should probably check some other factors as well. Fast neutrons a tick. Yeah, neutron generation, right? 2720. And steam, we're getting 17. Yeah, about 17. And 4 deuterium a tick. Now let's do the crazy and swap out some of these for the... Let's get them ready. Swap them out for heat exchangers. And we'll see what happens to those numbers. Whoa, the neutron generation's way more. That's about double the neutron generation that we'll get in before. Fuel efficiency. Well, fuel efficiency is the steam that we're generating, I think. Only these 4 that are generating steam. And the temperatures come down just a little bit. Okay, and these things, they don't break unless they hit 1800. So as long as they're below 1800, they're okay. That seems pretty stable. And these numbers are 4 still. Oh, and 20. More fuel. More than 28,000. Oh, come on. This is ridiculous. More than... Is it because there's a backlog in there or something? Yeah, there's just a backlog. We need to burn through that first. Okay. About 30. Maybe even slightly higher. Only triple the capacity of our factory. And that's gone up to 5 as well. All right, this seems to be a pretty good solution, I think. Like, I think what was happening was the fuel rod was just getting too hot. And so our neutron generation here, oh my God, it's gone up even higher. So our neutron generation here just wasn't at a very efficient rate. It's still pretty hot. 1500 is about 500 degrees Celsius above the kind of perfect ratio, but I'm not really in the mood to nitpick too much. Don't really understand all the finer points of it, but yeah, no complaints. Let's just connect this steam pipe to our main system, and then I guess we'll set up a few more of these storage tanks along the back here for deuterium, eventually tritium, and maybe even helium, I think. 180,000 of the stuff, and yeah, helium's just coming in from the bottom. Have we connected steam yet? No. We'll connect. I was waiting for us to do that together. So we'll connect steam. Currently we've got 5,000 in there. So that's now connected, and I've got a trash can here on low priority, so the network should get fueled first and then it should come here. And you know what? We could probably just turn this whole thing off then. Right? Just seems so unnecessary now, doesn't it? I'll leave it on. It does mean that we're burning through coal pretty quick, but I don't think the coal's really needed for anything else, so I'm not too fussed. We're going to do this recipe here to centrifuge the depleted uranium cells. And then let that in. Okay. Okay, I don't want to hop on too much about this because I'm sure you guys will get a bit bored, and we'll move on to something else in a second. But I think it is worth going over this, what we've done today, just a little bit, just so everything's clear and we understand what the next step is. So to start off, first of all, we're heading into this territory of making singularities. Like that's the next tier of things. We've done the titanium tier. Next is the quantum tier. And for that, you need singularities. Singularities you produce with this. All right, well, that looks easier. But for singularities, you need 64 nukes. And a nuke comes from putting together all these bits. Industrial TNT we have. Nuclear alloy plates we already have. Processing units we already have. But the other three ingredients, plutonium, tritium, and deuterium, that's what we got the reactor set up for. So you make uranium fuel rods, you chuck them in the reactor and they get used up, but they finish off with this thing called depleted uranium fuel rods. And it's in centrifuging that you get plutonium and these other two byproducts. For the time being, I've just put them here just so we could get a look at them. Let's go chuck them on our wall. So the plutonium we can mix with another byproduct, the uranium-238, to make LE-MOX or HE-MOX. And that stuff you use to make different types of fuel rods. I'll have a look later at what the difference is between these two. For now, we'll just happily burn off the regular uranium rods. But yeah, the plutonium we're going to use in an EBF to give us plutonium ingots. So that's that part done. And since these come from processing the fuel rods, if you want to increase the amount of plutonium you're getting, you actually want to speed up the depletion of those uranium fuel rods to get a higher yield of this stuff. Secondly, we want deuterium. And that we're getting by smashing the water. Let's just have a look. The more that neutrons interact and get absorbed by these fluid hatches with water in them, the faster your production of deuterium, which is at the moment 5 millibuckets a tick. And finally, the third product that we're looking for, tritium, you can get it by feeding deuterium into a, a fusion reactor, which is just a bit further down on another kind of quest line. But it looks like there's an initial way to start working with it, which is you can centrifuge it for an incredibly small amount on a slow timer, or you can use a chemical reactor, oxygen mixed with a little bit of deuterium to get a large amount of heavy water. So I might get a chemical reactor set up just to get a little bit of this process going to provide heavy water, swap out a couple, like maybe 2 or 3 of the fluid cells, and that should help kind of slow down our storage of deuterium, and we can start getting a trickle of tritium in there as well. All right, back to the base. Let's see how many quests we can get ticked off. I'm thinking it might be about time that we kind of finish off what we're doing with Botania here and look at making, it might be a bit tedious, but look at maybe doing a little bit of a montage and look at making all the rest of these kinds of flowers and lenses and stuff, even if we're not going to use them. Like just quickly, what are we looking at here? Lust, gluttony, pride, greed, envy. I'm pretty sure I've automated all these things already. I think this is just a matter of crafting through, I'm not sure what you call these ones, the sins, or the deadly sins. Alright, they should be in process now. That'll be the rest of them. I'm thinking what I might do is, I'll just craft everything. It's going to take a little bit of time. Up here are the ones that produce mana. I guess these are like our functional flowers. These lenses are kind of superfluous to what we need to do. I'll spare you guys the tedium, but I'll get one of each, then we'll come back and have a bit of a discussion on what we've missed. let's just put these away here for now. That's all of our functioning flowers, all of our mana generating flowers, all of our lenses that we didn't already have. Don't ask me what the hell they do though, because I got no idea. I'm hoping you guys might be able to help me out. Like, I've never played with Botania before, and like, you know, this isn't a Botania only playthrough. We don't have to do everything, although we do have to do everything for the quests. But my question to you is, I guess, like, what have I missed? What have I missed that's really obvious that I should definitely include this playthrough? Maybe some fun toys, maybe one of these cloaks. I might try them off camera, and if they're cool, I'll include it in the next episode. I know there's other ways to generate mana, and I think if we were to play again, probably wouldn't do this TNT thing because it's just taken so much to sustain it. The cakes were fun. I'm glad we've got that automated now. Like, I think the whole process here just feeds itself. It's auto milking the cows. It's getting the crops from our farm, and when all's going well, it can go non-stop. So I've added a few more of these kikimuras. And I think if we were to do it again, I reckon I might try this. I might try and set up this dandelion thing, the game of life thing, I think it is. Yeah, it looks super complicated, but it's meant to be a good source of mana production. Oh, big lag. But other than those, yeah, if I've missed anything obvious for this season, yeah, please let me know. I'd really appreciate it. Otherwise, this is going to be a wrap on Botania, and we'll probably never speak of it again. At least not until All of Fabric 7 or some other mod pack. Alright. And just like that, we've crafted, I think, everything there is in Botania. Oh, we're missing something sneaky. What could it be? Dreadthorn. We didn't make you? You're right, here, I did make you. And with that, we've done Botania. Okay. Another page down. Alright, of all these things that we just unlocked, none of them sound that impressive, except for, like, this Ring of Correction sounds cool. It says that it'll change the tool you're using depending on what block you're facing. We should equip it first. Okay, and if we have an axe, a shovel, and a pick. Let's see. If we try and pickaxe the dirt. No, pickaxe it. Oh, maybe it requires Botania tools. Yeah, there you go. So it needs Botania tools, but if I try to pickaxe this bit of dirt here, it'll swap it out for the shovel. If I try to shovel this stone here, it'll swap it out for the pickaxe. That's pretty neat. Too bad we don't use these tools anymore though. So we'll swap it back out, and that is Botania done and dusted. But boy, it'd be great if we could also upgrade the Terra Shatterer here. Let's just see how much we had. Yeah, so it's like 1.8 billion, and we need to get to 2.1 billion. So let's, fingers crossed, it's enough. Oh, close. So that 200 million odd became, actually, it does match up. Yeah, okay, so that's just an extra 200 million. I thought maybe that the numbers, I thought there might be like a different unit of measurement, but no, that was perfect. Let's have a quick look at how our reactor's going and probably call it for the day. Okay, yeah, these numbers don't seem to have changed much. Still generating about 6,500 neutrons with like 70% efficiency, and still going about 5. Yeah, still going about 5 millibuckets a tick on deuterium there. And our steam is still through the roof. Oh, we are almost, yeah, we're almost filled up on deuterium there. So I think I'm definitely going to set up this this process here of, what's that? That's turning hydrogen. No, not that one. This one. I think I'm definitely going to set up this oxygen and deuterium into heavy water, and then push that heavy water into some more of these fluid hatches to start outputting tritium in addition to deuterium. But not everything can happen in a single episode. All right, let's give these loot bags a look at. We'll start with the epic. Start with the good ones. I got some motors. Okay. Okay, that's something. And 54 of the rare magic loot bags. Whew. Okay, nothing we haven't seen before, and you guys know the drill. It's not going to change. All right, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Catch you in the next one. Bye for now.
Wow.